Hi, I'm Caryn Dugan, and this is Kitchen Confidence. Today, we're going to be talking about the 4 pieces of kitchen equipment that I think everybody should probably have eventually. We are going to go over the blender, the food processor, the immersion blender, some people call it a stick blender, and then also this little treasure, the microplane. So let's go through each of these and I will show you what they can all do. Okay, hairs up, time to play. Let's start with the blender. This is a blender. This is a Vitamix, and Vitamix makes high-speed blenders. Blendtec also does, and there's a few other brands out there as well. They're going to cost a little bit more than your just typical run-of-the-mill blender. If you don't have a blender, getting a regular one is totally fine. But if you are in the market for a high-speed blender, they have come down in price, and you can also find them refurbished. So blenders will give you a very silky, smooth, restaurant-like texture that, as far as I'm concerned, or that I've seen, no other piece of kitchen equipment will do. So let me give you an example. So let's make some cheese sauce. Okay, it's plant-based cheese sauce, just in case you didn't know. We're going to start off with adding some, there we go, adding some potatoes and carrots. Those have been steamed, so they are already cooked. Now I'm going to add in, this is a little bit of lemon juice and apple cider vinegar. This is onion powder. Let's see, onion powder and garlic powder, and just a teeny tiny pinch of salt. This is nutritional yeast, and this is going to give you a cheesy, nutty flavor. It's also going to give a little bit of umami. Then we also have a little bit of paprika and some turmeric in there as well. Now, pro tip, if you're adding turmeric to anything, add a little bit, just a pinch actually, or more if you want to taste it, of freshly ground black pepper, because that will help your body absorb the turmeric even more for those anti-inflammatory properties. All right, back to the show. I'm going to dump that in there. Now I'm going to add in some cashews. This is going to give it a really nice mouthfeel, that creaminess, and it adds some fat to our cheese as well. Now I'm going to add in just a little bit. This is optional, but I really like it. This is miso paste. This is fermented soybeans. Yum, yum. This is going to be great umami in there, and it actually will give it more of a like dairy cheese feel, taste. This is soy milk. You can use any milk you want, plant-based milk, regular milk. That's totally up to you. You can also use veg broth or water. Let's blend. You can see how silky smooth that was. And of course, I just happen to have some steamed cauliflower ready to pour on this. Because who doesn't like cheesy cauliflower? Oh my goodness, yum, yum, yum. Yeah. You can see how creamy that is. That's delicious. Of course, all the recipes will be down below in the show notes. So that's really why I suggest for your very first piece of kitchen equipment, it be a blender. If you don't have any of those pieces of equipment, smoothies, anything really smooth that you want to make, smoothies, dips, all kinds of anything smooth is really going to come from a blender. So I'm going to quit talking. Oh my God, so good. All right, let's talk about the next piece. If you like texture, like me, and if you do not like cutting endlessly, like me, you're gonna love the food processor. This is a food processor. This is an 11-cup KitchenAid food processor. It's pretty robust. I think I got it at Bed Bath & Beyond back in the day when they had real stores. You can go anywhere. There's a link down below. I love this thing. I have had two in my life. I've had one after years and years and years of heavy use, finally decided to. So this is the second one, and it's going pretty well. I will make my burger mixes, put it in here, make date balls or like kind of like energy balls, put it in here. This is a fantastic machine. Now, what I'm going to do today is show you two ways that I like to use it. I'm going to make you my famous chickpea chicken salad real quick. And then I'm also going to show you how to shred lettuce for like a coleslaw. Okay, let's get started. To the food processor, we're going to add a few ingredients, but first I want to show you one thing. It's always going to come with a couple of blades. This is probably the one you're going to use the most often. It's called an S blade because it looks like an S. And this KitchenAid one is really, really robust. It's a really nice wide blade, pretty heavy duty. And it just sits right in this container. Now we're going to add in our chickpeas. And we've got some jumpers all around here. All right. Oh, who cares? All right, then we're going to add in some flavor. And I put a little bit of regular old yellow mustard in there. We're going to add in some tahini. If you want to add a mayo in there, go right ahead, but I like tahini. That is just ground up sesame seeds, a little bit of calcium in those guys. Okay, next, because I don't have any relish with me today, so we're just going to use this cut up dill pickle, and I have a few capers in there because I love my savoriness. That top of that guy. Then we're going to add in some red onion, some celery, and a good amount of freshly ground pepper. Now you just snap this lid on, and I'm going to pulse this. Real easy. I mean, it would take me so long to chop all this. And some people do find it very therapeutic, and that's great. That's fine. It's up to you, but I'm just saying this really does hurry along the process. Now I'm going to add in just a little bit more texture, some walnuts at the very end, because I didn't really want them to get pureed in there. Not that we have a puree, but I really just didn't want this chopped up as much as everything else. So that's the reason for step number 2. And what you want to do is with a food processor, you're going to have to get around the sides, scrape down the sides, maybe once, twice, doesn't matter. It's totally up to you. I think I'm just gonna have to do it once because this is such a quick little recipe. That's it. Now, I will put this all into the bowl so that you can see the texture that I'm talking about. This is a great little batch cook. Keep this in your fridge all week long. It's back here. And yum. Now, typically you'd want to keep this in the fridge for at least an hour so that all the flavors can kind of get to know each other and get real happy. Let's get this out of the way. Look at how chunky and well incorporated all of that is. So easy. Now, I'm going to take a bite right now. They have some corn chips here. Give it a good taste. Forget it. Good job, food processor. Your blender can't do this. Stick blender, immersion blender, whatever, can't do it. And certainly your microplane. That's one of the reasons I like the food processor. Well, let me show you the next one. Another cool thing that your food processor can do is shred. So if you're making a coleslaw or you need any kind of, shredded carrots or shredded veggies, cabbage, and you don't want to do it by hand and you don't feel like buying the bag of pre-cut, because I found that can go bad kind of soon. Just buy yourself one head of cabbage. And what you want to do here is take this little adapter, I guess, that is going to come with your food processor, and take out your S blade that we used before. Put that guy in there. And then you're going to get a couple of different blades with your food processor. This is the one that we're going to use. And then we're going to stick our top back on, flick it. And now we're going to actually take out the top here because we're going to dampen down our whatever food you have, but today again, cabbage, we're going to dampen it down there so we can push it onto the blades, and then you'll see all the magic happen there in the canister. So we're going to put it on high. And I have our cabbage. You want to cut the cabbage so that it'll actually fit in there. So there's some cutting involved, but not like shred, 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 at least by hand. Okay. So easy, so satisfying. Don't want to get it too big in there. You have to help it out a little bit, not a lot. Let's get some green in there. Yeah, it's doing all the work for you. Just think you can make your own coleslaws. You are in charge of your ingredients, right? Confidence. Okay, that's enough. You get the picture. Now, you are going to see the blade has some remnants on it. And then look at that. Like it can be different sizes. Your shreds can be different sizes. And we have all of this beautiful, perfectly shredded cabbage right there for you. Oh, so easy. So, so easy. Okay, how about we move on to what's next? The immersion blender. Let's do that. If you want to feel like a real whiz in your kitchen, get one of these. This is the immersion blender or stick blender. Usually comes in 2 parts. Real easy to use. Now I have a soup here. Let me show you what's going on. I have this lentil and potato vegetable soup, and it smells delicious. It looks delicious, but for me, it's just a little bit too thin. So I would just want a more creamy texture. So instead of adding some cream to it, cashew cream or whatever, and instead of also grabbing my blender and dumping this in there and hoping that it doesn't run down the sides, that would never happen because I'm a mess. I create big messes. I thought, let's just use our stick blender, immersion blender to get in there, and you have complete control over how either chunky or smooth you want your soup. So let's give it a try. Make sure that the blender, this part right here, you can see the blade in there. You want to make sure that that is always fully submerged, because you do not need to be redecorating your kitchen. Okay, it's been known to happen too. All right. All right. Now I am going to stop right now because that looks perfect to me. This This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. I haven't added any ingredients. I haven't gotten out a big bulky blender. I'm not dissing the blender. I love the blender. I'm just saying. Okay, so let me show you what this looks like, all creamified, if you will. And you still, I mean, that was what, 5 seconds? I don't know, 10 seconds. Really super easy, and it's nice and creamy. I have control over the texture. So this is just a really, really great way to take a soup and get it creamy right away, right there on the stovetop. So like a butternut squash, you can get really creamy, right? Or you can just make it kind of chunky. It doesn't matter. Totally up to you. You have a lot of control with the immersion blender. So that's why I like that. It will not get as smooth, just by the way. You're not going to get like that really silky smoothiness like what you will with a blender, right? But it will get pretty darn smooth. You can save a lot of space in your kitchen, um, and get a lot done with it. So maybe give it a try. And finally, we have the microplane. I love this little tool. Pretty inexpensive. You can find it anywhere. And it has these tiny little raised blades, and they just catch, not you can't cut yourself, but just those raised blades are just there enough just to take a sliver of whatever you are putting over it, whatever food you're putting over the plane, just to take that tiny, tiny, tiny little sliver. So you'll find a lot of people will zest fruit, usually lemons, but they'll zest fruit and put that over any kind of dish. I like to use it mainly with ginger. So if I'm making like a ginger tea, or if I'm making a salad dressing with ginger in it, I'll use the microplane. Also, I like to freeze my garlic. I freeze my ginger too, but I also freeze my garlic. And instead of mincing garlic, I will run that over the microplane as well. And it's a perfect texture. It's a perfect amount every time. So, but today, because I've been making all these savory dishes, I thought, time for something sweet, right? So enter our strawberries. And well, it's easy enough just to eat a block of chocolate, but I thought maybe we could zest some chocolate. This is a 70% Madagascar chocolate that I found that I love to eat by the block, but we're not going to do a block today. We're going to take our chocolate, and almost it's just like a little bit larger than a dusting, and zest some dark chocolate. Very nutritious, by the way, lots of antioxidants. Make sure it's a dark chocolate, at least 70%, and put it over your dark berries. Oh my goodness. Oh, so good. Look at that. Wow. Yum. And dessert is served just as easy as that. I'm going to give this a try. Of course. Yum. 2 ingredients. Please go get yourself a microplane. Now just look at that spread. That's what we made in just a few minutes or so with each of our pieces of kitchen equipment. This is our easy, dreamy, yummy cheese sauce, nice and smooth. This is from the blender. Then we have the chickpea chicken salad, full of texture. And then we also made the beginning of what could be coleslaw. So we just shredded some cabbage. This was from our food processor. Then over here, we had a soup, a lentil, potato, and vegetable soup that I blended with just a couple, quick seconds with the immersion blender or stick blender, and we have a nice creamy soup. And then, of course, our strawberries. Just cut up some strawberries and shaved some dark chocolate over it using the microplane. So easy stuff. There's a lot of things that you can buy that'll make it really easy in the kitchen for you. Save some time. But if you don't I certainly don't expect anyone to get all these things at once. I didn't get them all at once. You work your way up to it. But if you're asking me what one piece of equipment, if you don't have any of them, I would say the blender. Get yourself a blender because none of the other pieces of equipment are going to get something really smooth like that cheese sauce. You can also make soups in it, right? There'll be creamy soups, but if you keep the motor going long enough, it'll warm it enough and maybe even start to cook it a little bit. So nothing else is going to do that. With this chickpea salad and with the coleslaw or the cabbage, I could have done that by hand if I wanted to. The soup, I could have put that into the blender if I wanted to. And well, that chocolate, I don't know if I could get it very, very shaved, down shaved like that, like with the what's that thing called? Microplane. So I would say I would say go for the blender first, because that might be probably the most expensive. And then give yourself a financial break and go to the microplane. And then probably the food processor, because that's really going to give you a lot of texture. So and then the immersion blender last, because that's just convenience, and it hardly takes up any space in your cabinets or your drawers or whatever. So that's what I would suggest. And I hope that this has given you a little bit more kitchen confidence so that you can go ahead and make really nutritious meals for you and your family. We'll see you next time. Thanks.